Welcome to Dashing Dish. I thought I was busy and then I got married and had 2 kids and started a business and now homeschool. And although I'm busier than ever, I also realized if I do not put my health first, I'm no good to anybody else. So today I'm going to attempt to share with you how I try to balance it all and make everything run smoothly around here. My day in a life menu includes whipped yogurt bowls, Italian grinder salad, Magic 7-layer bars, and chicken enchilada lasagna. I'm Katie Farrell. Today I'm taking you through a day in the life with breakfast, lunch, dinners, and snacks. Well, welcome to a day in my life. Every single day, you can guarantee I start the day with breakfast. If I do not eat breakfast, I typically get hangry very quickly in the morning. So I simply cannot skip breakfast. And usually I like to have a breakfast that's protein packed and something that will really satisfy me until lunchtime. I really don't have time to have a snack between breakfast and lunch. I just have to keep going. So I like something that's really protein dense. And for these whipped yogurt bowls, they have 40 grams of protein. So I can guarantee I'll feel well satisfied until lunch. For this recipe, you'll need 1.5 cups of Greek yogurt, 2 tablespoons of peanut flour, 1/2 cup of berries, 1/4 cup of granola, and 1 teaspoon sweetener of choice. So I start with just some plain Greek yogurt. Now you could have sweetened Greek yogurt. However, if you choose a sweetened Greek yogurt, make sure that you use one without added sugar. You also don't want one with a bunch of chemicals and fillers. So check that ingredient list. I like to use plain Greek yogurt with nothing added simply because then I can control the ingredients that go in it. So I have a little bit of stevia here. Typically I use granulated sweeteners whenever I'm baking, but if I'm just adding a little bit of sweetener, I like to use the liquid because again, if I can get it open, because again, you can control how much goes in. So I just really do just a few drops, and really anywhere between a 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon of any kind of sweetener would be good. Honey would be good in this, maple syrup. And then I also have a little bit of vanilla extract. That's optional. Because this is plain Greek yogurt, I just like to spice it up just a little. So that's not even in the recipe. It's just something that I like to do to kind of zest it up a little bit at home. So vanilla extract, always good in yogurt. So I'm gonna mix that in first. And the reason that these are whipped Greek yogurt bowls is because we have some peanut flour. And peanut flour is really good because it adds protein and it also tastes just like peanut butter. So if you're a peanut butter fan, you're gonna love this in your yogurt bowls. So it just adds a little bit of flavor and protein. And I'm just gonna kind of stir it in, but I don't stir it in too much. And I actually started making this for my breakfast when I had Ollie. I used to have protein shakes, and I still do from time to time every morning. But now I eat these because honestly, it's even quicker than a protein shake. I don't have to wait for a blender or anything like that. I just literally throw things into a bowl and I'm on the go. Then I have some frozen blueberries, and this is my go-to. I love frozen fruit in these. And the reason why is because it thickens up the yogurt bowl. So I don't even measure my frozen fruit. I just dump it in until it looks good. Then as you stir it in, it almost immediately starts to turn the Greek yogurt almost like an ice cream texture. So that's what I love about using frozen berries. And you could of course use fresh, but I just love that it's almost like ice cream within, I'd say about 2 or 3 minutes of adding those frozen berries. It really thickens it up and it starts to taste almost like ice cream. So I'm just gonna stir that in. Then I'm gonna top it with just a little bit of granola, and you can use pre-bought granola or you can make your own. There's plenty of recipes on Dashing Dish. The only thing I would say with granola is just check the sugar content. Try and find one that's lower in sugar than the others. The one with the lowest sugar, try and choose that one. And then we're gonna top it with our granola. I also sometimes top this with like Dashing Dish cookies or even Dashing Dish muffins for just a little bit of carbs and a little bit of texture on top. So the reason that I try and get protein but also a little bit of carbohydrates in the morning to start my day is carbs are fuel. They're not bad. They're not an evil thing, I promise you. And honestly, it helps balance your blood sugar to have a combination of protein and carbs to start your day. So that's why I like to add a little bit of granola or a little bit of muffin or something that I have around the house just to give a little bit of carbs too. And of course, there's carbs in the berries. So it's a really good balanced breakfast, and it really does keep me satisfied until lunchtime. You gotta try this. It is so good. I guarantee you'll have it not only for breakfast, but sometimes snack and dessert too. So I'm gonna have one of my favorite lunches, which is my Italian grinder salad. And this is my favorite style of lunch to have because it's really quick and easy to prepare. And honestly, I usually just chop everything at the beginning of the week, and then I just have it in my fridge to throw onto a salad throughout the week. So it's really quick. For this recipe, you'll need 1 head of chopped iceberg lettuce, 1/2 sliced red onion, 1/3 cup chopped banana pepper, 1 cup chopped tomato, 1/4 pound of turkey pepperoni, 1/4 pound of deli turkey, 8 slices of provolone cheese, 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan. For the optional dressing, you'll need 1/4 cup of mayo, 1/4 cup Greek yogurt, 2 tablespoons red wine vinegar, 1 teaspoon banana pepper, 1/2 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon dried oregano, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I have just a little bit of mayonnaise, and I do choose organic mayonnaise whenever I'm using mayonnaise, and then just some Greek yogurt. So I kind of do half and half. So it's a way to make it a little bit healthier, a little bit lighter, but you still have that tang and that flavor of the mayonnaise, which sometimes I don't feel like you can do without. Like you just need it, especially in a dressing. And then red wine vinegar, and that's gonna also add some tang there. So I do make this dressing ahead of time, and then it's good really in the fridge for up to 7 days. So I just keep it separate off of the salad so it doesn't just kind of wilt the lettuce when you add it. And then I am just gonna add a few seasonings to it. So I have some salt, garlic powder, and some oregano. And then we're just gonna stir this all together. You could whisk it, but super easy to make. And this is kind of like the mayonnaise on an Italian sub. So might sound a little bit strange, but trust me, it is so, so good. In fact, this has quickly become one of my most popular recipes on Dash and Dish, and people rave about it. They're like, I didn't realize how good a sub sandwich could be as a salad. So that's gonna be the dressing. Now we're gonna make the ingredients for the salad. Oh, and we're gonna add just a little bit of the banana pepper liquid, just from the can, just a tiny bit, just to that dressing, just kind of give it a little more tang. So these banana peppers we're gonna save for the actual salad. And I don't have pepperonis, I ran out, but I'm using some olives instead because I feel like anything that would go good on an Italian sandwich will go good on the salad. So another fun thing that I do during lunchtime is I've recently been incorporating Maddie's Bible curriculum during lunchtime. And that's been a really special way to get my kids to sit down and we all just kind of talk about Jesus together. I think sometimes we think that it always has to be in the morning, which I do my devotionals all on my own in the morning, which is really important for me and for my heart. I literally cannot imagine being a mom and a wife and doing all that I do and not spending quiet time with Jesus. So I do wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning before everyone else wakes up, and I have my quiet time with Jesus. But then I think, well, if my kids only see me doing that in the morning and they never see me walking with Jesus throughout the day, what are they gonna think that really looks like, you know, my walk with God? So we've been incorporating it kind of all throughout the day. So we just cut up the iceberg lettuce, and I did wash that ahead of time, so that's good. Then we have our tomatoes, and these can be chopped really to your liking. So if you like your tomatoes kind of sliced, you can slice them. If you like to dice them, you can do whatever you like with the way that you cut these. I like them a little bit more diced for this salad. But one of the things that I find that's most important in my entire day is truly my morning routine. So like I said, getting up, really early before everybody else, having quiet time with God. And then I always find some way to move my body. So, you know, I find that it's really easy to kind of put yourself on the back burner as a mom, especially with little kids, where you're just kind of like, well, you know, I don't have time for myself. I don't have time to move my body. I don't have time to have quiet time with God. But really, it's all about the thing that you make a priority, right? So I do. I set my alarm. I usually fall asleep at like 8 or 9 p.m. because I do wake up so early. But it is such valuable time for me to be able to pour into myself so that I can pour out onto everybody else. And I find that if my mornings are kind of cut short, or I don't have time to spend time with the Lord or take a walk or exercise, I just find that it's much harder for me to pour out into everybody else throughout the day. Okay, so you could cut up, depending on the size of your tomatoes, really 2 tomatoes, if they're large, will work well. I have smaller tomatoes here, so I'm gonna do about 3. Now, if I were making this for myself throughout the week and I was not gonna eat it right away, I would not put these tomatoes on. I would keep them separate. The reason why is any kind of wet ingredient like these tomatoes, the minute you put them on your salad, it's gonna make the lettuce really wilted. So I would keep these separate from the lettuce, but I'm gonna have the entire salad looking beautiful today. So we're gonna add everything right on the salad. Okay, so now I have a red onion. Same thing with the onion, however big or small you wanna cut this to go on your salad. I like onion that's really finely diced, and I probably will not use even half of the onion. I'll probably just use like a 1/4. I do not like a whole lot of raw onion, so this is all kind of to your liking. So I just did lunch meat turkey because it tastes just like a sub sandwich that way, but you could also use a rotisserie chicken or any kind of turkey that you'd like. You could also use ham for this recipe. That would be really good. And then we have provolone cheese, which I feel like you have to have either provolone or Swiss cheese for this recipe in order for it to taste truly like a sandwich. So we're gonna put that on top. And then we're gonna finish this off with the banana peppers. And like I said, you could either do pepperoni or black olives. Either one would be really good. And then we're gonna top the whole thing off with some grated Parmesan cheese. Doesn't this look so good? And I actually made this one day for Dashing Dish, and my sister came over and she was like, this is the best salad I've ever had. And I was like, it literally was just me chopping some things up and throwing it on some lettuce. So good. And then, again, you can either save your dressing for right before you eat it, or you can drizzle a little bit on and enjoy it with the dressing just before you eat. So this is a great way to make a quick and easy meal prep lunch that's high in protein, so satisfying, so delicious, and will carry you well on until dinner time. Coming up next, made with real ingredients, classic layer bars are packed with protein to fuel your day. So now we're on to dessert, or sometimes I eat these as a snack as well. Really, I eat any of my baked goods for snacks throughout the day. So sometimes you just need something really sweet as a pick-me-up throughout your day. Am I right? So this is my 7-layer magic cookie bars. And if you had these growing up, I don't know why, but I feel like this is like a nostalgic thing in my mind where it was like my childhood. You know what I'm talking about when I say these are the best dessert ever. For this recipe, you'll need 1 cup of nut butter, 1 egg, 1/3 cup maple syrup, 1/4 cup peanut flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 cup of sweetener, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and for the topping, you'll need 1/4 cup of chocolate chips, 1/4 cup peanut butter chips, and 1/4 cup of unsweetened coconuts. So we have peanut butter that I just melted a little bit. You do want to melt it in your microwave, or if you use natural peanut butter, it is a little bit more on the liquid side. because it's gonna be easier to mix together. So I'm gonna get that all into the bowl. Then I'm gonna add peanut flour. So if you don't have peanut flour and you follow along with Dashy Dish recipes, you probably have almond flour or oat flour. That would work just as well as a swap out here. But peanut flour I like because it adds protein and it gives it more of a peanut butter flavor for the base of the cookies. Then we're gonna add an egg, some baking soda, some sweetener, and maple syrup. So these are essentially flourless cookie bars because the only flour we use is peanut flour, which is really just peanuts ground up, and some salt. Then we're gonna mix this all together. And my biggest thing when it comes to sweets or when it comes to any kind of treat is I love to think of ways that I can make the healthier version of the recipe. So whether it's brownies, cookies, you name it, you'll be able to find it on Dashing Dish because I definitely love sweets. And so that's what I'm always thinking about. How can I make a healthier version of what I'm really craving right now? Whether it's chocolate cake or anything, cookies, I've pretty much done it. So that's what I find is really important for me for staying consistent with a healthy lifestyle, is not depriving myself. If I just think to myself, oh, I can't have that ever again. And like I said, this is like something from my childhood. I feel like you have to just I feel like you have to just enjoy the things that you really love in order to stay consistent with sticking to a healthy lifestyle. So in this case, this is something that I just remember from my childhood. My mom made them all the time. So it was really important to me to find a way to make them a little bit healthier. And then we're just gonna smooth the base out in the bottom of a pan. So this is gonna be like the cookie bar part. And it's mostly peanut butter, so you really can't go wrong. If you love peanut butter, you're gonna love these bars. But I think what I love most is really the topping. So I'll have something like this after eating dinner, or like I said, usually while I'm homeschooling Maddie and we sit down together, I always get her a snack and I get something for myself as well. So usually I grab a cup of tea or decaf coffee. I usually only drink coffee like with caffeine in the beginning of the day. I can't drink more than 1 cup. Definitely doesn't make me feel my best. And then I have a little bit of a snack or a treat with my coffee. And I find that that gives us both just a little extra motivation just to get through our homeschooling when we just have something like a little healthier treat to enjoy. Okay, so we did some coconut. I do use unsweetened coconut for this. You really don't need the sweetness of sweetened coconut because you have chocolate chips, and we also have some peanut butter chips. So these are really sweet enough. You do not need to get sweetened coconut. And I do like to find chocolate chips that are sweetened with stevia. They're pretty much in every grocery store now, and it does cut back on the sugar as well. So these look so good. I'm gonna bake them 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. Coming up next, a fun twist on your favorite lasagna. Chicken enchilada lasagna is the perfect recipe for busy weeknights. Now we're on to dinner, which actually it's really hard to determine what my favorite part of the day is. I think dinner might be my favorite after all because my husband Sean comes home and we all get to eat together as a family. So for dinner, we're gonna have a chicken enchilada lasagna. So it's kind of like having chicken enchiladas, but all the work taken out. So instead of standing there and rolling all your chicken enchiladas, you're putting it all into a baking dish and you're making almost like a lasagna. For this recipe, you'll need 1.5 pounds of chicken, 16 ounces of enchilada sauce, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 12 tortillas, and 1.5 cups of shredded cheese. So for this recipe, to make your chicken, you can either have pre-cooked shredded chicken like I have here, or you can put it in your crock pot. Now, if you want to put it in your crock pot, you just put the chicken, so the whole 1.5 pounds, into your crock pot, and then you cook it for 4 hours with 1 cup of enchilada sauce and your seasonings. So you'll just throw that all into the crock pot, and then you're ready to go to make your lasagna. So that's what I would do. I would just think ahead and I would just put it all in my crock pot. But if you already have cooked chicken, easy. You just simply add your spices and your enchilada sauce straight to the chicken in a bowl. So that's how you kind of flavor your chicken, is you're adding your enchilada sauce. You definitely don't want just dry, plain chicken. You want to give it some flavor, give it some zest. So we got enchilada sauce, and then these are my basic go-tos. I never buy taco seasoning in a packet because it's so easy to make yourself. Onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and cumin. You can even add a little bit of chili powder or paprika if you want a little bit more flavor, but so easy. So really, you don't need to buy taco seasoning packets. Usually, they're filled with a lot of ingredients you won't want to eat anyway, so make it yourself, easy. So I'm gonna add that to the chicken in the bowl, stir it all up, and that will give our chicken a lot of flavor. So dinner time for me, like I was saying, I usually am either working on dashing dish during Ollie's nap in the afternoon, or I'm homeschooling Maddie. So dinner time is so busy because that all ends at about 4 o'clock when he wakes up from his nap. And then I gotta get dinner on the table at about 5. So I really don't have a lot of time. And in between that time, I'm either wrapping up work, homeschool, cleaning up the house, Sean's coming home, and then Ollie's waking up. So I really don't have more than maybe 30 minutes to make dinner on any given night. And when Ollie wakes up from his nap, I can guarantee he will be hungry and he will be looking for food. So I don't like to give my kids a lot of snacks close to a mealtime. If you're a mom out there, you know why. That fills them up. They literally will not eat a meal if I give them snacks right before a meal. So I try and just get food as quickly on the table as possible. So this is a really good dinner that I would definitely see myself making over and over and over again for any given weeknight. But I also love to do it for guests because this is something that pretty much everyone will love. As long as you love chicken enchiladas, you're gonna love this. And it also presents really pretty as well. Okay, so we're gonna layer half of our enchilada sauce that we have left over and some tortillas on the bottom of the baking dish, and then half of the chicken mixture. And this is really why it's a lasagna, because it's layered just like a lasagna. When God called me to homeschool this year, it was really an act of obedience. In fact, Sean and I were praying where we would send Maddie to school for months and months and months. And honestly, nothing was coming to mind. I just felt like no matter how much I was praying, I was getting silence. Although God did speak to my heart and Sean's heart separately about homeschooling. Although I really was not willing to even listen. I was like, no, I don't have time for that. Thanks God, but no thanks. So when it just kept coming back to my heart and nothing else as far as different schools in the area was coming to my mind, I was like, maybe God is calling me to homeschool. But again, I just didn't see how that was even possible. So instead of me sitting there and fighting with God about it, I finally said, okay, God, you can have my yes. And it has been proven to be such an incredible blessing in ways I could have never imagined. And sometimes God, He really doesn't want us to understand everything. He just wants our yes. So I gave Him my yes, and it has been so amazing in every single way, ways I couldn't have imagined. And it truly has been not just a blessing for me, but our entire family. We've gotten closer together. We've gotten closer in our walk with God. We've gotten closer in every single possible way that you could. And so it's been amazing. And so I will say, if you could do anything, I would just say, be obedient to God, because it's going to bring you blessings that you could not imagine. So now we top this with another layer of tortillas. You can see I just kind of Kept repeating the layers. I did rip one tortilla in half just so it kind of covered that full top so that I can top it with more enchilada sauce and more cheese. Okay, so that looks good. And although this season is not always easy because I am so busy, it is the best kind of busy season you could be in. I've got my kids at home, I'm doing what I love, and it just feels like such an incredible blessing. So sometimes we gotta put our focus and our perspective back on the good things, even in our busiest seasons of all. So I'm gonna bake this 350 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes. Well, I so enjoyed having you guys in the kitchen with me today, enjoying a day in the life walkthrough. And I have to say that all of these recipes are things that I really do make and enjoy on a daily basis. Things like protein-packed, nutrition-filled meals that are super quick and easy, but more than anything, delicious and satisfying, which is so important to me and my family, of course. You can find all of these recipes on dashingdish.com, where you'll find recipes and more to nourish your body and soul.